rainy, cold. It's nah. I hear it might snow. Felt to me like it might snow. Hey, I'm probably not supposed to make note of it, or I'm not used to not doing what I'm not supposed to do, but isn't Wes doing a good job on stage? Many of y'all probably didn't know he's the responsible. I don't know if that's deflection or if what. He's responsible for all this and everything. So he does all this. He's probably worked up here 20-something hours just on stage and getting it ready and pretty and making things. And then he's got this team of seamstresses behind him with Jerry and you're not a seamstress. What is wrong with you? Oh, Mally's like, I want to be a part. Whatever. Jerry and her bunch. So there's usually a sewing machine. It's just crazy. You should come around through the week. We have a lot of fun here. We eat 3 days here. Tuesday, Wednesday, yes. I'm starting to figure out why certain people volunteer more than others. But yeah, so Jerry loves to be here working, but then she also loves to feed people. So I'm pushing this year's budget to get an on-campus cook. Jerry, it'll be free because Jerry doesn't take money, but so that should make all the finance people happy. We're going to look today, we're going to keep going. We've been talking about traveling light because you and I will agree that we don't belong here in this world, right? Y'all know that song, This World Is Not My Home? We sang a couple of old hymns for y'all today just to bring you back, right? Even though there's progressive stuff here, like colored lights, there's still old hymns. So I want some of y'all to feel at home. But y'all, that song, This World Is Not My Home, y'all remember it? Well, then sing it. I'm joking. Please don't do that. But we would sing that song when I was growing up, and it would be like, you're like, I'm so happy it's not my home, right? But then what we've been talking about past weeks is that even though this world's not our home, we seem to accumulate a lot of crap from it, right? And the first week was literally about crap that you have at your house, stuff that you just seem to not be able to get rid of, and we sort of pushed it away, and everybody went home, and everybody kept texting me. The husbands would text me, thank you so much. And then some of them would text me, quit, I'm still carrying crap away, right? So it went both ways. But we did that. And then last week we started talking about distractions, the things that we accumulate as far as distractions go. And we really honed in on your cell phone and your social media. And that was not intended. I had a whole lot more to talk about. So if you missed Wednesday night, you missed the entire half of the sermon that we didn't do last Sunday. We did it on Wednesday night. So that's what you missed on Wednesday night, right? So if you were feeling left out, you should be. You were left out. Today we're going to try to get all the way through the sermon about letting go of this thing that you collect as you're traveling through this world that's not your home, that you're so happy about not having to live here, that you're so happy about not having to worry about, but this thing called bitterness that you tend to drag along with you. That you don't belong here, but you're really bitter about some things that are happening here. And we're going to talk specifically person to person that you have in your life. But I don't want to negate your ability to get bitter over things that just kind of happen. We sort of touched on this in Sunday school, Marcia. Things that happen around us, you and I can hate, right? And it just irks us, doesn't it? Maybe you all really got rid of your social media last week and you don't know anything that's going on. It's good. But some things around us that can really irk us. But if we get bitter over them, then we've taken it on and we're now dragging it through this place that's not our home, that we don't belong, that we're so excited to only be here for a short time, and yet we tend to get bogged down. So we're going to talk about letting go. What? Oh, letting go of it. Sometimes she says things to me, and I got to say, what? Look at, did I give you verses? You looked, oh, but you did it. Okay, but Wes did, and he's like the bomb. Oh, you did it. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 14. We're going to do 2 verses, 14 and 15. I want to see this. So we're going to boast. Let's make sure we're on it, right? Blow up your balloon. Make sure you don't get popped. Make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and here's key, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. Make sure, so just hold that verse right there for a little while. We're going to kick around on it for a little bit. Make sure that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. Now, I've mentioned that I used to live up north, so I can kind of relate to certain things. One of the things that was really important up north was tree climbing. Did any of y'all, before you were scared to break a hip, climb trees? That's me. I'm not climbing any more trees. I'm with you. I'm not making fun of your age. I'm with you. I am now one of you. But an oak tree. Anybody got oak trees in their front yard? We didn't. We had pear trees. Dumbest trees ever created. Pear trees blow down by going, right? They just go. Had no roots. But an oak tree, man, they had this massive root system. They did. Now, fun fact. We love fun facts around here. Fun fact. If you take a fully matured oak tree and you take all of its roots and you line them up end to end, they will cover 2 linear miles. That's a lot. I don't know about you. But it explains a lot about how much wind they can take. And how important, right, this root thing is. And what's the other thing, they have this one root. You know what the main root of, and this is any tree, but really in an oak tree. You know what the main root is? Yeah, y'all been to church a lot. There's been a lot of sermons done on taproots. It's called a taproot. It goes down, and it's the one that secures the main part, the center part of the tree to the ground. I mean, it goes the deepest, okay? And from there, everything just sort of goes out. Everything's from there. Why is that important? It's okay if your taproot is secure in good ground, and it's okay if your taproot is feeding you the right things. But if you don't pay attention to this verse, and your taproot, so to speak, the thing that's grounding you in life, all right? If what's grounding you in life is this world, you know, and you don't live like you're actually passing through, you live like this is like your home, and everything has to be your way, and that's sort of your attitude, then your root literally will become this, a bitter root. Because what will happen is, as you sort of dig in, anything that starts to mess with you, you get bitterness towards. You get if you ever heard my wife talk about our kids, it's okay for us to want to kill them. But it's not okay for anyone else to want to kill them, right? And she will say her claws come out. Any other moms? Anybody married to a mom whose claws like to come out? Yeah, so moms, you do. But if you do that in this world, if we're talking about just your average life and things start to happen around you and things don't go your way and your claws start to come out, what you're trying to do then is you're trying to grip on to what this world has to offer, and you're mad about it, or you get bitter about it, and that thing, it says that bitter root. Don't let that bitter root grow up. Here we go. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to even get bitter. You're going to have it. I would love to meet the person who never ever gets bitter. But it says don't let it grow up to cause trouble. That's trouble for you. And then defile many. Isn't it funny how every time the Bible talks to us about our Christian walk, It's about us, and then it's about how we affect or infect others. That we're constantly supposed to be worried about what we do as it affects others. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I think that stinks. I think that's the worst part about being a Christian. I would rather worry about myself and myself only. I would rather it would be so much freer to just be able to go, wow, I don't have to worry about none of y'all. I'm just going to live, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to think the way I want to think, and I ain't got to worry about the rest of the planet. Now, we're not talking about you. We're talking about those people. Those people who don't even go to church. Those people. Them out there. That's what we're talking about. If I didn't have to worry about them, if I could just be a pig-headed Christian, if I wanted to be, if I could just be a cantankerous old Christian, that'd be cool. And not worry about whether the world ever got saved or not, or ever saw the love of Christ, it would be so much nicer on me. And in reality, sometimes, even though I'm saying that kind of facetiously or sarcastically, it's literally how we're living. It's literally how we're behaving. Because we have allowed a root of bitterness to dig down into our lives, and then it automatically affects others. We take that bitterness and we sometimes we spew it. Anybody know anybody that spews? I guess I'm getting too close to home. Sorry. We should start talking about other people when we're in church. Wouldn't that be better too? We could just talk about the sins of everybody else, and you could just point and laugh, and you'd be like, I'm so glad I ain't one of them. Democrats or something. Right, I don't know. Look, I can finally get to you by going political. Come on, don't make that. 2 weeks ago, we figured out it was CNN that was your enemy, and now it's the Democrats. Come on. Here's what happens. I believe that our enemy will do everything possible to plant a seed of offense into your life. I believe that, if I'm supposed to worry about it, which is what Paul's saying here, or to be politically correct, I'm supposed to say the writer of Hebrews, but I'm giving Paul the credit for writing it. Wrong or right, I don't care. Paul says, you need to watch out, and you need to do not let it. See to it that no one. Now, he's not talking about you seeing to it that nobody else does. He says you need to see to it that you don't fall short of the grace of God. You do know that, right? Even though he says see to it that no one falls short, it's not you making sure nobody else falls short. It's see to it that none of you individually don't fall short and that this bitter root doesn't grow up into you. That you don't allow this to take root. That you don't allow it to affect others. Now, right now, everyone should have a person or a group of people that you're bitter towards. You should have already identified them. That's how this thing works. If not, you are dismissed to go to lunch. So right now, you can just get up. If you don't have anybody you're bitter at right now, everything's good. You literally have zero cause to be upset about any one person, any one cause, or any group of people. You may go, because there's nothing left for you today. Nobody? Good. I was hoping that it wasn't just going to be me and her. I just assumed she would stay with me, just because. Not that she needed to be here. She only stayed because I'm here. But really, so now, if we're going to identify that, if you're literally going to say, yep, it's there, and I believe God planted it in your heart, and you're like, not them. I don't care how good he preaches. I ain't going to ever change my mind about them. I'm going to try. It could be something small. I don't know about you, but in this world we live in, and I know we talk about social media and crap, but in this world, there's literally people who get offended because you don't like one of their Facebook or their Instagram posts. They do. Or maybe you keep posting stuff, and then anybody ever go back to see who liked it? Don't raise your hand because every single one of you do it. Dave, you just don't have Facebook. I know. But even I do it. I post something, I'll be like, oh, why didn't they like it? I know they like. I saw they liked that one. Unfriend. You don't deserve to see my stuff anymore. But really, I mean, that's kind of, or you ever text somebody? I'm not talking about you. Look, everybody's pointing at you. Literally, 3 people behind you are going, her. You ever text somebody and then the little bubbles show up like they're actually texting you back and then the bubbles disappear? I will call you in a heartbeat if you do that to me. I mean, just don't pretend that you're going to text me back, but they will. The bubbles will pop up and they'll be like, idiot. I will. I'm just so mad. And that bitterness, I mean, literally the bitterness. Or maybe it's a little stronger than that. Maybe somebody you love lied to you. Maybe they deceived you. Maybe they did something, just something. And it really, you're actually justified to be bitter. You're actually justified to be upset with them. That's where we really want to click into. I don't want to tell you that you're not justified. I want to walk us through dealing with those who are dealing with a bitterness that's justified. Because you believe you are, whether anybody else would ever believe you are or not. That's not my position to take. My position to take is the Bible literally talks about it, and if the Bible talks about it, we have to be able to apply it to every single situation. And there has to be a way for God to work in us and deal with us and comfort us in every single situation. Do you believe that? All right, the rest of you can go. See, we're starting to weed people out. We're down to 11 people. Oh, yeah, I believe that's right. Okay. We need to recognize that you can't control what people do. This is big. And I've probably said that 100 times. Never really believed it, but the last 3. Honestly, you can't control what other people do. But you can control how you respond. We've said it in other ways. We've said it like you can only control your attitude and your actions. You can't control anybody else's attitude or action. And so that begs the question, if I can't control it, why then would it upset me? I mean, to the point that this thing happens, to the point that this grows down in, to the point that my claws come out, to the point that I respond and affect others because of it. If I can't control it, why would I do that? And the question would be, the answer has to be, is that I don't believe that I can't control it. I believe I have some control over it. And I'm going to exercise that right to have control over it. I mean, come on. As my kids grew up, I had what I believed to be so much control that I would tell them, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to take you out and make another one that looks just like you, right? That was my, we all believe that we have that control. But it's still, you don't. It is impossible to control the actions of anybody else or their thought process. But you and I live in an attitude that we can, or that we can do something. And you can do something. But it's only going to affect you, and then according to this, others in a negative way. It's going to impact, and it's going to keep what God's best is for our life. It's going to keep us away from that. So I know that God's probably going to ordain this week for you that you're going to come in contact with people. Probably, now that God's brought them to your mind, you're going to be faced with them this week. It may be a single person that you're going to have to be faced with. They may be a close family member that you see all the time already, right? Maybe there's somebody that you just see kind of every now and then, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and believe that this is the week that God's going to put you in place with them. Because I just think that's how He works. I just think that as he brings them to our mind, as He brings things to our mind that we need to work on, I don't know if you've ever done this, but it happens to me. He'll bring that to my mind, then all of a sudden, I'm face to face with it. I'm like, wow, I've got to deal with that now. I thought we were just talking about it. Right? Have you ever had God working on you about things? Oh yeah, God's working on me. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, you're worked on. Do it. And I'm like, come on now. Can't there be something else we can work on today where, we just talk about this some more? I just believe this is what's going to happen. He's going to bring it, and you're going to be stuck, and you're going to be looked at it. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to figure out how to be free from it. Because this root, it takes, if it's already taken, it's already taken root. Because you're already thinking about it. He's already brought them to your mind. You see, he doesn't bring anything to your mind that you don't have any problems with. He doesn't have you work on things that don't need to be worked on. Doesn't that make sense? So when he brings things to your mind, you need to work on them. When he brings a person to your mind, you need to figure out how to deal with it. That thought, that problem. When it brings a group, you need to work on it. You need to think about it. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what I want you to do. That you, in this first thought, the first time that it comes up, every single time, you're going to say, I'm going to choose to not be bitter over it. I don't care what it is. Okay, this is where everything starts to get on a level playing field. The moment that it's in your mind, the moment that you see the person, the moment that a news feed comes up, or the moment that you see something happen with this group of people, or whatever it is, the moment it happens, you're going to say, right this moment, I'm choosing to not be bitter over it. I'm just going to do it. I'm not promising that I'm not going to be bitter over it in 10 minutes. I'm not promising that tomorrow I'm not going to be bitter over it. But the moment it happens, I'm going to choose not to. And then the next time it comes to your mind, the next time, I'm going to choose not to. I just, right then, immediately, I'm going to choose not to. I'm going to choose not to be bitter over this. Wow, this sounds really easy. This sounds a little stupid. Well, you can either allow this to take root and then start to defile, or you can say, I'm going to choose, because I have control over this, I'm going to choose not to be bitter over it right now. And it'll go away. I have practiced this. It will go away for that moment. It will come back. And you're faced with another moment. You see, I believe that's why God says, let's not worry about the next moment. Let's worry about this moment. You see, he uses the word today, but he's actually talking moment by moment. Let's not worry about how you're going to feel in a few minutes. Let's worry about how you feel right now. Let's not worry about how you're going to feel next week. Let's worry about how you're going to feel right now. Because you can handle and you can control right now. Right now I choose not to be bitter. I'm going to take that away right now. And here's what I know. Over time, this practice of moment, by day, by week, whatever it is, it starts to become easier. I can tell you the first time I had to do it, I was like, but I want to. I'm reading, okay, so maybe I'm reading a post. And there's a person who keeps posting stupid stuff, right? And it's their fault that I keep getting bitter over it. And so I'm reading it, and it's none of you, you're safe. If you're watching online, it could be you. I don't know who's watching. But I would read it, and I would go, God, you're an idiot. I want to kill you. Just because they're stupid. No other reason. Nothing they're doing really affecting me. I just think they're morons, right? And I'm just like, oh, I'm almost having to count. Like I'm not going to kill a kid or something count. But I'm just like, and I'm studying this, and I read, just like that. I'm studying, and God's like, you can take a break. Facebook. Boom, there it is. And I'm like, I choose not to. And I had to keep my eyes closed while I scrolled past them. Worked. And it did. But I'll be darned if they didn't say something stupid that night. And I had to do it again. I choose not to. And I really wanted to unfriend them. I did. I wanted to take it away. I wanted to, for that last week's sermon to kick in for this week and just call them a distraction and get rid of it. But then God's like, no, I'm teaching you about this week now. And I'm like, they got to stay there. You mean I've got to choose not to let them affect me? That's what God said. You've got to make sure that you don't fall short of the grace of God and that no bitter root. And I'm like, come on. How then? So let's move on. How does this mean that I'm not falling short of the grace of God? So here's what bitterness is directly attached to: forgiveness. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh man, I just thought this was stuff. This literally indicates what I feel about people and what I feel about God towards me. Yeah, that's where a good Christian would go. Anybody watching Greenleaf? You're supposed to be going, Who's watching Greenleaf since I talked about it? It's over. Season 4 is coming. Y'all need to go watch it. I'm just telling you. It's just fun. Anyway, I digress, but it's fun. So here's what happened, though. I lived my life with absolutely no bitterness. I lived my life with absolutely no unforgiveness. I forgave everybody. I literally lived my life as the happiest, go-luckiest person you'll ever meet. I'm using that in past tense. Right? Ask my wife. That was a lie. Because I just faked it. I had bitterness towards a lot of people. I had unforgiveness towards a lot of people. And things would happen, and I would internalize them. I just didn't show it. You know, I was kind of like Peter in the Sunday school lesson this morning. As long as there were other people around, I would pretend that it was all okay. And I would absorb it, and then I would tuck it away. And what was happening was I was allowing this bitter root to grow. I was giving it some fertile soil, so to speak. And I was letting that happen. Now, it wasn't until I just like exploded. Until it just spewed. When I ask you if you knew somebody that spewed, I'm one of those guys. And it had eaten so bad that it affected the one I loved the most more than anybody. Now, it took me going to somebody else for them to. You're letting this planet get in. And you're letting this grow up. And you're not forgiving someone. And I'm like, who? I can fix it. And she said, you. You're not. You don't think you're good enough. So you're not forgiving yourself. And you're not working on yourself. And I'm like, come on, I came in here to talk about how other people are screwing me up. I came in here to get the tools to go help others be better people. Anybody ever gone to therapy and really wanted that to be the core portion of it, to figure out what was wrong with y'all? And she just kept hammering it back to me. This is you. This is you. This is where it's at in you. This is what's happening in you. And I'm like, come on. And she's like, you need to pick a verse. I'm like, I'm a preacher. I know them all. Now I tell you, my therapist hates me. Because she'll hit me and she'll go, quit being logical. Shut up. Now pick one that you can actually live by. And so I'm journaling this week, and I couldn't really get one. I mean, there were certain things that we've been talking about for a few weeks, and it works, but then this one came, and I'm like, really? This one, God? The verse that I'm supposed to go to whenever bitterness comes up? He said, yeah, that's why I put it there. Dummy. What are you, an idiot? Yeah, I guess I am. So see, when I'm falling short of the grace, it's because I know that I'm falling short of the grace of God whenever I'm bitter to somebody else or bitter to myself, and I'm not accepting the forgiveness God gave me by not reflecting it onto other people. Did you catch that? Did you understand that you can't give forgiveness? Do you know that forgiveness, even when somebody's done something really bad to you, okay? And I know we've talked about forgiveness a lot, but this is coming from a different angle. When somebody's done something to you or a group of people that the bitterness, forgiveness is your path to get rid of the bitterness. And here's why. You can't give it. You can only let it pass through you. I say reflected because if I understand that I've been forgiven, then I must reflect that forgiveness onto everybody around me. And I must start to look at people as just people who God has the grace for, just like He had for me. And if I've allowed bitterness to grow, then what I have done is not accepted God's forgiveness onto my life. What I have done is if I'm passing bitterness, if I'm looking at you and I'm understanding just how dumb you are, right? And just how wrong your ideology is. And I understand just how you just say the dumbest things, right? Whatever. So what I'm saying is I don't even accept that the grace of God is on my life. What God did wasn't enough. I need to do more work. I need to kind of finesse the gospel before I accept it and then pass it along. You see, I've said before that I think you can accept the grace of God and then just not share it. You see, you as a good Christian who've accepted the grace of God needs to work on how you share and how you pass on the grace of God. Newsflash, if you're not passing on the grace of God, the true reason is you haven't accepted the true grace of God. Because it's not a tangible thing that you just throw out. It's something that just runs out. So whenever you've accepted the grace of God, it goes out. Bad news. If it's not going out, it's an indicator that you haven't. It's an indicator that there's a problem. And it's an easy person to find. You just got to go to your own bathroom. Look right above your sink. And say, hello, you're the problem. But what about what they did? They ain't nothing. Anything, this is where I got to generalize it, and I apologize, but there is nothing on this planet that's been done that trumps, pardon the pun, what Christ did for you and how bad God thinks of how bad you are or were. Do y'all know what sin, the word sin actually is? Now, a really good Christian will have already heard this sermon. Okay. Sin is actually an archery term. Okay? Did anybody know that? Everybody, now you can just say, oh yeah, I knew that. Wow. An archery term meaning, and here's what sin actually means, missing the mark. Okay? How many know how to win at archery? Now, that's true. How do you win at archery? Bullseye. That's the only way to win. Now, you can be better than others in archery, but that doesn't win archery. Winning archery is a bullseye. Okay? Now, let's say that there's this bullseye, and if you ever notice your arrow, there's usually supposed to be only enough room for one arrow in the bullseye. Okay? I know our culture has made the bullseye a little bigger. It's okay. But let's say that red dot's right there, and your arrow is 1 millimeter off of the bullseye. Did you win? Or did you miss the mark? Missed the mark. Now let's say you're in the 110th ring around the archery. Now there's only like 8, but you're at 110. Okay, like when you let go of the arrow, you said, squirrel. Right? And it went there. Now, did you win at archery or did you miss the mark? I hit the squirrel. Yeah. There's always one. Always one. I'm going to have to call Jim. Inside joke. Sorry. Too soon. You missed the mark. And in God's economy, you miss the mark at exactly the same amount. Because he only has one bullseye. And it's perfection. Have any of you hit the bullseye this week? Wow. I thought y'all were smarter than that. Because if you just answered no, you don't understand that verse. Because if you understand that verse, then you will say, I hit perfection in God's eyes every single day. Because the grace of God put his perfection on his son and put him in the bullseye, and he hit it. And then all you've got to do is go, of course I did. His son's in the bullseye. How good did you do this week in God's eyes? Absolutely perfect. He's in the bullseye. You see, that's what I understand. Now, here's when you don't understand it, you answer things like, no, I sucked in God's eyes. Yeah, listen, if he had an arrow, he would have killed me, right? And you start to do that. And that's exactly what I was doing. And when you do that, you don't understand the fact that Jesus did everything he needed to do to keep God's wrath away from you, because without it, you miss the mark on a moment-by-moment basis. And you are perfect in God's eyes. And when we as a people start to understand that we're perfect in God's eyes, then everyone else will start to get perfect in our eyes. Because we won't look at them, and we won't look at their stuff, and we won't care that they only brought Tupperware to the potluck, right? Throwback to last week. We won't care about that stuff. We will march on, and we will say, forgiveness is available to you because I have received mine. And I understand everything I did is just as bad as everything everybody else has ever done. They've missed the mark, I missed the mark, and God's in the bullseye with his son, and he has made it perfect for me. So therefore, he's had to make it perfect for everybody else. And no bitter root can grow because I'm no longer looking at them. I'm looking at me. And they're getting the reflection of forgiveness that I feel. Somebody should have excited about that. I'm just saying. Because I believe that was preaching pretty good. So, real quick. 11:30. Drink some coffee. One more. Roman, I don't even know why I said one more. I haven't given you the first one yet. That was the introduction. Real quick. So, if you want to write, you write this down because you got to kill it. Now, so there are some action terms we got to do. So we understand it. Okay, now we got some action. All right. So I understand where it's coming from. I understand why I'm doing it. Now, here's a couple actions. First, if you want to kill it. If you're gonna stop it, you're gonna say those words. I choose not to right now. Followed by an action. Bitterness equals compassion. Here's what's really funny about the Bible too. Whenever he tells us about things we shouldn't do, it's by doing the opposite. Like Jesus said, you wanna lead others, then just serve. Make no sense, right? You want to, let's see, I wrote a few of them down. You said if you want to be great, serve others. Somebody strikes you, don't strike them back, turn the other cheek. You want to kill a root of bitterness, offer compassion. Now I liked it better. Now I'm just going to be honest. I liked it better when all I had to say was, I'm going to choose not to be better. That didn't involve anybody but me. But watch. So, cause trouble in you and then defile many. There's got to be an opposite that's compassionate to many. I'm choosing not to, and now I'm offering compassion. How do you offer compassion to an idiot? how do you offer compassion to a Democrat? Or a Republican? We're all idiots in God's eyes. Not gonna lie, I am neither. And y'all that's true. I care less what you are. I just follow culture. How do you offer compassion to those people who are absolutely, positively wrong? And wrong by meaning different than you, right? Wrong by meaning don't agree with you. That's who I'm talking about, right? How do you do it? I don't know. No, you can. No, don't say I can't. I have to. But how? That's where it gets, I think, more personal. I'm not giving you a blanket. Go love, right? That's stupid. I just say that because the blanketing love over everybody's some of the dumbest teachings I've ever heard. Because for me, it's not about love at that moment. It's about finding a way to literally do something that's compassionate. And it could be an attitude, it could be a thought, but I've literally got to be compassionate towards them over something. Whatever it is. I don't need to identify what's wrong with them and fix it. I need to find a way to be compassionate. Romans, I was going to read it to you because I'm not making this stuff up, really. Romans chapter 12, it was very similar. He said to the church of Rome, he said, do not be overcome by evil, but do the opposite. Overcome the evil by doing good, with good. So you literally have to do something. You can't just think about this. And this is where it stinks. It might be a text message. It might be a phone call. It might be a post. I don't know. Offering compassion back out is hard, but it's the opposite of allowing it to grow up and defile others. And if you truly believe that someone's evil, check it. If you think they're evil, the only way is with good. You can't just be less evil. You can't just miss the mark a little bit. You've got to bullseye it. And Christ is there in the bullseye with good. So how do I know it's good? Well, it's going to bring a lot of attention to the one that's in the bullseye. It's going to, whatever you do that's good, is going to bring more attention to them than it does you. And it's going to feel right all the way around. I mean, you're going to know it. That's why it's so individualized. That's why it's so important that you're the one talking to God about what you should do. That's the one. You're supposed to be talking to God about understanding the grace that He has given to you in your life so that you can turn around and not defile the people in your life. I have enough people that I got to stop defiling in my life that I don't need to worry about how you do yours. But here's what I know. You and I have to worry about not doing the ones in our life. We have to worry about not defiling others around us. We have to worry about it. We have to make sure that we're doing it backwards. Look at just some real practical ones that none of you are going to want to do. And if you want to delete them out of your Bible, it'll be the only way you're not going to be able to follow them. Luke chapter 6, he said, bless those that curse you and pray for those who mistreat you. That is step one. You wanted action steps. You wanted come on, I got to be able to do something. Okay, bless them. How do you bless them? You don't sneeze on them. That's defiling. Bless them. How do you... See, I like to play with that word bless because it's really fun when I'm having to worry about other people. And on me, it means monetarily. It means good news. It means anything that I consider a blessing from God. So how do I bless others? Well, I take things that I think are blessings and I give them to other people. And all of a sudden, I've blessed others. So I don't have to worry about your definition of the word bless. I have to worry about my definition of the word bless. So if I'm going to bless others, I'm going to see how God blesses me, and I'm going to turn around and bless them. Just, something got a hold on me. Maybe that's a blessing for you. And then the general, pray for those who mistreat you. Well, luckily nobody mistreats me. Yeah, whatever. Pray for those. And why are you praying for them? This is going to take up a lot of time. Why are you praying for them? Go ahead. So they'll change, by God. I mean, that's why I'm praying for you. I mean, I am praying that God slaps some sense into your brain. I am praying that Congress gets saved and becomes a Baptist and starts believing the way I believe, right? I mean, come on, God's got to make a lot of hurdles there, not just salvation. I mean, He's got to change their mind. He's got to do a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be praying for a long, long time. Right? No, so why are you praying? Why are you praying? Say it out loud. To change you. When I pray for those who mistreat me, I'm not praying for them. I'm simply praying about them, and all of a sudden I'm getting changed. Sucks! I have to start liking people that 5 minutes prior I didn't like anymore. And when I say like, I mean enough to pray for them. Literally, pray for them. And I don't care what you pray about, you're the one gonna get changed. Just try it any time. Pray with that right heart. Just try it. Don't shoot the messenger. Just go out there and try it. Now, next week, you come in here, and if you've prayed for those who've been mistreating you, even if they haven't actually been mistreating you, you just think they're idiots. You pray for them, and if you've been praying for them all week with the right heart, you come back in next week and go, no, didn't change me a bit. We will quit, and we will build a condo right here. We have the manpower and the technology and the willingness to make more money than we are now. Let that sink in. So we're going to say those words moment by moment. We're going to, what was the first thing I said? Whatever. Secondly, and then we're going to pray for them, and now we're going to kill it, final, with the actual reflection of forgiveness. You've got plenty of action steps. I don't have to worry about it. You're literally going to practice the forgiveness. Now, so you can't give forgiveness and it just reflects. How do you know you've done it? You just do. You just know. No longer are you waking up in the morning trying to plot ways to kill them. See, I'm speaking from here, okay? No longer do you wake up in the morning and just immediately try to find out how dumb they've been today already, right? And just scroll through them, whatever. They don't occupy your mind. They're not anchoring you to this planet anymore. They're not eating you alive with your thoughts and you just get all bent out of shape. You're not that way anymore. That's how you know reflection of forgiveness has happened. And all of a sudden, you're starting to focus on this guy who's in the bullseye again. And you start to feel free. And you start to, this is getting better. Man, I start to like life again. I can start to like where I'm at. I can start to like what I'm doing. Why? Well, because reflection of forgiveness has happened. And I'm not worried about somebody else anymore. Amen means I'm going to do it. Means I think you're right, but I don't know how. All right, we're just going to end it. And we're going to give you some moment. So we don't like the word reverent here because I'm not. And I try, but I don't want you to be reverent today. But I want you to be introspective. It's a millennial's word for reverent. We're going to do communion. There are going to be 3 stations, and we're going to ask you to do is you're going to come up, and here's how we practice communion here. We break off a piece of the bread, and that represents God's body being broken, because the Bible says His body was broken for you, all right? And then we dip it in a cup, and it represents His blood. Okay, so whatever's in the cup represents His blood. And it's His blood shed for you, because we believe that while that whole death thing was fine, this brokenness and this blood shedding was followed up by a resurrection, all right? And that's really what we're celebrating, your ability to live what we've been talking about because of that broken, because of that shed, because of that resurrection. So as you consume it, all right, you're accepting it, okay? So what you're saying, you're literally declaring, it's not doing anything for you but curbing some sweet tooth hunger. But what you are declaring to others, and sometimes just to yourself, I believe what he did was enough. And while you're doing it, I want you to start that praying thing that says, I'm choosing not to. Now, some of you are going to be in a line, like maybe down this aisle or wherever. So some of you, as you take a step, you might have to say, choosing not to right now. Okay, and you might say another prayer. You might look around and get ADD like I do. But then the next step, forward, I'm choosing not to. And so great practice right now. Maybe you're going to take 12 steps, I don't know, to get up front. You're going to say it 12 times. But here's what I'm saying. That I really want us to, as you're walking up to it, prepping yourself. And let's make it have more meaning today to you than we ever have. Let's make it mean something. And then as you dip it, you break it, you dip it, and then you swallow it. Okay, you're walking away from this. Pray specifically for that person, that group, that whatever, all the way back to your seat. Don't stop that practice until you get back to your seat and sit down. And then you can exhale a little bit and then analyze how you feel. Analyze. Did that kind of loosen some weight on? If it didn't, once you get back to your seat, if it didn't, I want you to come back up. And I want to pray for you because this is going to sting. Maybe you haven't received it yet. You haven't received God's forgiveness on your life. Now, whether that means you're a Christian or not, you just haven't received it and able to reflect it. Because I believe, moment by moment, drop it and at least have a feeling of relief is it's God's economy. That's how it looks. That's how it feels. Now, I can't promise that as you stand up and walk out the door, it's not going to get back on you again. You got to keep practicing. But at least in the exercise, that you should feel a little bit. Now, if you just want to sneak out, we'll talk about you later. That's fine too. It's freedom and everything. Okay? But for those who really, let's make this mean something. And we haven't picked it yet. So, Jana and Chick, would y'all come and meet right here and do this one? And then Ray Buff, y'all want to come do right here? How about Jack and Ann? Y'all want to do right here? Y'all do that? Okay. Come on.
Where are we going?
Right there to grab your stuff. And you come stand on the cross. I think somebody dripped grape juice the last time we did it. Heathens. But let me pray for you in general as they get set up, and then they'll be up, and then you just calmly, shouldn't be talking about where we're going to eat roast beef in a few minutes or whatever. Let's start it. Let's make it mean today. God, I pray that you're able for just this next few minutes to take away the cares that we've brought in here. And you'll center us around this one idea, this one area of our life that we need to work on. Soften our hearts as we walk through this line. Implore us to understand the grace that's offered by what's represented in this plate and cup. And show us how we can pray for those around us, for those that we feel have wronged us, for those who we feel that are just messing up things around us. Give us those words. Lighten our step. Take our burden. Be our Savior. In your name we pray. Amen. Y'all make your way up.
redemption's hill, where your blood was spilled for my ransom. Everything I once had